I sort of feel like I'm in my own personal version of The Godfather Part 3. Eh, screw it. Play the clip.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you so much for returning. And for those of you who have not yet subscribed, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and smash that like button. Also, leave a comment if you want future topics discussed on this channel or you want those topics to at least be in consideration. So, yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago by the time this video goes up, I don't know, I did something that I have not done in a very long time. I talked about this TV series called Super Pump, and in a sense, I was talking about Uber. And I have not talked about Uber for months, and I kind of fully don't intend to talk about them much. I am going to make a couple videos about gig economy companies and their response to Ukraine, because that is a topic we have not discussed before. And I think it might be interesting to see how the ride share companies or the gig economy companies, whatever, you know, independent contractor, because you're not independent contractors, but all those companies that rely on independent contractors, how they're responding to Ukraine. They're responding very differently, and it's fascinating. But we talked about Uber yesterday because of a TV show that premiered on Showtime called Super Pump. And this was based off the Super Pumped, The Battle for Uber book by Mike Isaac, which, full disclosure, me and Harry Campbell did a discussion of that book on this channel. You can check that out above. But they turned it into a TV show. Now, what I think about the TV show, you can see there. And I said, well, look, I guess we're going to be talking about Uber as long as this TV show is going on. And the big question is this mean Uber videos are coming back? Because Super Pump has actually been renewed for a second season. And so it's like, oh my gosh, is this like an indirect way for me to be talking about Uber again? Because, you know, it doesn't feel like I'm talking about Uber. I mean, I am talking about Uber. I'm talking about Lyft. I'm, you know, comparing my experiences in life, not only as a driver, but as a YouTube commentator on this topic. And I'm applying it to the show. So I actually thought it was like a nice little middle ground for old-time fans to get some of that old content that they wanted back. And for me to give them that content without me feeling like I'm crawling back to this or it feeling stale. Well, here's the thing. The Super Pumped show has been renewed, but it's going to be a little bit of a twist. It's not going to be about Uber. It's going to focus on Facebook. So this is from Variety. The business anthology series Super Pumped has been renewed for season 2 at Showtime. The news was announced as part of the Viacom CBS Investor Day presentation. Each season of the show will focus on a different major story from the world of business. So this is no longer a limited series. This is now an ongoing series where every series tackles a business. And that is a very good way to go about this, I have to say. You know, the People, American Crime Story, I think it's called. That first season was The People versus OJ, like OJ Simpson. And when that got renewed, the second season focused on Katrina, and then the third season focused on the Monica Lewinsky scandal. This is a good way to keep the brand alive, but to keep it fresh, because you can't, I don't know if you can keep going back to Uber. We don't know how the series is going to end, and there may be room to do a season about Lyft. You never know. But for the time being, Super Pumped is just going to kind of change tactics. Now, one of the reasons that Facebook is next is because it is based on a Mike Isaac book. The second season will be based on Isaac's upcoming book. This is what I was looking for. About Facebook and its transition from startup to social media powerhouse. So this makes even more sense. Mike Isaac wrote a book on Uber. It was very good. They turned it into a TV show that I am not entirely sure if I love yet, but I'm enjoying purely from an entertainment standpoint. But he wrote a book about Facebook, so that's going to be the next one. It will focus on the relationship at the center of the metamorphosis between Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg and the world-changing forces unleashed intentionally and unintentionally as a result. And by the way, more than Uber, Facebook is deserving of a series like this, especially now that Facebook has shown to be compliant with misinformation, election meddling, and even the fact that their algorithms are so strong that politicians and public figures will actually believe and publicly espouse viewpoints that they themselves do not believe in. But because the algorithm pushes the extremism to their constituents, that basically means that you will have lawmakers, politicians, basically espousing views that they themselves do not believe because the algorithm will bury them if they don't. I think that alone is worthy of a TV series. So, continuing this article, Super Pumped hails from writers Brian Koppelman, David Levine, and Beth Shacker, the team behind the network's hit series Billions. So, I guess I gotta tell my brother that, because my brother loves Billions. All three also serve as executive producers and co-showrunners on Super Pumped. Paul Schiff is also an executive producer, as are Stephen Schiff and Alice Ozarski. The series falls under Koppelman and Levine's overall deal with Showtime. Season 1 of Super Pumped stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Kyle Chandler, and Uma Thurman, of which I have not seen Uma Thurman in this show yet, so she must be coming later. The season pivots on Travis Kalanick, Uber's hard-charging CEO who was ultimately ousted in the boardroom coup, and his sometimes tumultuous relationship with his mentor, Bill Gurley, the plain-spoken, brilliant tech and venture capitalist who bets his sterling reputation on Uber's success and then has to live with the consequences. Thurman stars as Ariana Huffington, so okay, she's obviously coming later then. The savvy businesswoman and co-founder of the Huffington Post, who was an Uber board member. The cast for season 1 also includes Elizabeth Shue, Carrie Bishy, John Bass, Bridget Gow-Hollett, Babak Tafti. An entirely new cast will be assembled for season 2, unless of course maybe some of these characters are going to be in season 2. Like I could see maybe Zuckerberg having a little conversation with Travis Kalanick. I think you could be clever and do something like that. So I guess now to answer the question, does Super Pumped getting renewed for season 2 mean we're going to be talking about Uber more? And apparently no, that's not what it means, because season 2 is not about Uber. But I'm still going to do weekly live stream discussions about this show, especially with Facebook. I think those live streams are probably going to be a little contentious, not going to lie. I know some of my viewers do not agree with my political viewpoints, but, you know, I think Facebook is worthy of a lot of scrutiny. And I'm glad to see a show like this is actually going to be made. And hopefully there's a lot of success for the show, because you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing this show tackle other services. Imagine what can be done. Like, you could tackle Lyft, as I mentioned before. WeWork, primed for a show like this. Maybe DoorDash or Postmates. Actually, if you do the Postmates season, then guess what? You can get some of the cast members from season 1 back, because Uber bought Postmates at some point. And here's the thing. Big series finale, just saying it right now. I don't know if they're going to have the courage to do it, but I think whenever they decide to do their final season, the final season should be about Amazon. I think that would be the perfect series finale. Amazon is the biggest. Arguably, they started all of the bad habits of these silicon tech giants. Amazon was the one who decided we were going to be brash, we were going to be ruthless, we were going to purposefully lose money in favor of growth. And once they had that growth, they used that power to squeeze the middleman and their lower employees, like warehouse workers. Horror stories, absolute horror stories with what happens with Amazon warehouse workers. And because no one stopped them, and they're still not stopping them, Amazon workers are still trying to unionize and they're not getting anywhere. And because of what Amazon did, other companies took inspiration. Heck, there is a scene in Super Pumped where Travis Kalanick is watching Jeff Bezos on his laptop and basically copying Bezos's philosophy and rules of business conduct and applying them to Uber. Can you imagine what brilliant writing that would be if all these companies, they showed getting a little bit of inspiration from Bezos, and then in the final season they tackle the big guy himself? That would be great, and it would be a sly way to have continuity throughout the entire series. So I am actually very, very excited about what this means. And since the Apptrepreneur is first and foremost a channel about business, I can continue talking about the show, and we can do weekly live streams when the show is on the air. So anyway, I don't know if more Uber content is going to be coming as a result of the show. It's possible. If season 3 is about Lyft, guess what? We're going to have rideshare content again. But otherwise, I'm just really looking forward to the show. Now I need to ask you, what do you think about the show? Do you like it? Have you watched it yet? What do you think about this renewal? Love to know. Once again, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.